Okay, so we'll be doing chapter 5, experiment 5 today. Okay, so experiment 5, simple harmonic motions. Now, uh, I just received your practical test and also report writing test format last week. So this week, I wanted to practice how to make a video. All right, because your practical test this time it will be a video, so you have to record the videos of you doing the experiment, and the length of video is between 1 to 3 minutes. All right. So what I want to do this week, okay, I'll discuss this experiment 5 with you, and then I want you to write a report on experiment 5 as well as do a video recordings for experiment 5. Okay, so we are going to call it a test run to see whether you know how to edit video or not, whether you know how to take the importance elements, how do you include the importance elements in your video. Okay, so this week you have two tasks for your experiments. First one is for the report writing. You're going to use the format that I showed you last week to do a report on experiment 5, and then you're going to record a video. I will tell you what is the elements, what is the things that you need to include in your video, and also I will spend approximately 15 minutes to show you how to do a simple video editing by using the built-in software in your Windows 10. Okay, so why I suggest you to use the built-in software in a Windows 10, because it doesn't have a watermark on it. Okay, if you use any free software from the internet, usually there will be a watermarks on your video, and if you use it, if it has a watermark, then you have to double check. Make sure the watermark it doesn't cover up your important informations in your video. Okay, so that one I will discuss it after this. Now let us go through experiment 5 quickly. So experiment 5, simple harmonic motions. Okay, simple harmonic motions. Now this experiment, okay, experiment 5, we are not going to use your lab manual. We are going to look at a virtual lab. Virtual lab means you're going to conduct these experiments in your house. That's why I want you to learn how to take a video based on experiment 5. Okay, so learning outcome, against learning outcome, it doesn't represent your objective. It's not objective, okay? It is not objective. So you have to modify it a little bit, because there are still some of you who use the learning outcome as the objective in your report. Okay, so make sure you don't repeat the same mistake in your report writing test. Okay, and then we have a theory. So a theory and oscillations of a simple harmonic motions on that goes back to a learning outcome, sorry. So the objective, so at the end of this lesson, students should be able to, now what are you going to do in this experiment to determine the accelerations due to gravity? Okay, so in which it means this experiment, you're going to calculate G again, and that you have a theoretical value where G is equal to 9.81 ms negative 2. Okay, so it is unlike your previous experiment, experiment 4. Now, experiment 4, if you notice, I didn't give you the theoretical value. Why? Because in our lab, there are a few types of flywheel. Okay, and I don't know which flywheels they are using. Therefore, I cannot give you the theoretical value. Okay, because different flywheel, they comes with different theoretical value. So experiment 4, actually you don't have to compare with theoretical value. You just calculate it and then answer the questions in your questions in the data sheets. Okay, because data sheets there are a few additional steps that it asks you to do. So you just follow the step. But in experiment 5, again, we go back to calculate accelerations due to gravity. So you have the theoretical value, which is 9.81. So which means in this experiment, again, you have to do a compare and comment. Okay, compare with theoretical value and then comment whether your result is accepted or not. Now, if you look at the second objective, it asks you to investigate the large amplitudes of oscillation. Why? Now, the reasons why it wants you to investigate the effect of large amplitude is because now let's go to theory. Theory tells you a simple harmonic motion, the amplitude should be less than 10 degrees. So this experiment, it wants you to investigate What happens if you use an angle that is larger than 10 degree? Now, why 10 degree is important? So this is your simple harmonic motion. Okay, so this is a vertical line, the dotted line, where your object is in equilibrium. Okay, when object is in equilibrium, it is lying along this vertical line. Now, if you have an object that is oscillate at an angle that is less than 10 degree, okay, less than or equals to 10 degree, then you can make an assumption where your object is actually moving in a straight line. Okay, it's moving in a straight line. But if you have an object that is oscillate at an angle that is larger than 10, for example 70 degree, then what happened is that now you cannot assume it is moving in a straight line, okay, because it has a clear arc here, okay, a curve here, a very obvious curve. So when you compare a larger amplitude with a smaller amplitude, the difference is that smaller amplitude, this is small amplitude, you can assume it is a straight line. It is a linear path. Okay, this is an assumption. And then when it comes to a large amplitude, then it is no longer a straight line, but it's an arc. All right. And in simple harmonic motion, all these equations, actually we derive it based on the assumption where our object is moving in the linear path. Therefore, this experiment, it wants you to investigate what if you are conducting this experiment at an angle that is larger than 10 degree. Okay, is a result still acceptable, or is it still as accurate as you conduct the experiment at 10 degree? All right. So the next assumption is that now you assume the point mass, okay, this pendulum bob is a point mass, and then the mass of the string is negligible. Now the mass of the string is negligible for this assumption, okay. Now if you are using a very thin thread, for example a sewing thread, okay, and then a string or fishing strings, then all those we can assume it comes with a negligible mass, okay. But don't use the nylon string, okay, the pink color nylon strings that you usually use to tie things in your daily life, okay. So that one we cannot assume is negligible, and some more is very thick, so that type of string is not suitable to use in your experiment, okay. So kamu boleh guna benang, okay, benang yang jahitan atau benang memancing, okay. So yang nipis ringan punya, that one you can use, tapi jangan guna nylon yang tebal yang biasanya kamu ikat benda pada kehidupan harian Anda, okay. So make sure you use the correct strings. Okay, now according to the theories of simple harmonic motion, okay, the derivations of the period, it gives you the equations T equals to 2 pi square root L over G. So this equation is made based on the three assumptions above. Okay, so rearrange the equations. Now, why do you want to rearrange the equation? That is because this experiment, it asks you to sketch the graph of T squared against L. So if you look at the equations 3.6, it doesn't have T squared, and it also doesn't have L only. Okay, so on the left hand side it has just T, on the right hand side it has a square root L. So this equation cannot be used in our calculation, okay, because if you look at the graph that they ask you to sketch, T square represents your Y, and L represents your X. So equation 3.6, it doesn't contain these two things. Therefore, you cannot use it in your calculation, which means you need to rearrange it. Okay, so by rearranging the equation 3.6, you obtain T squared equals to 4 pi square L over G. Now, can you use these equations then in your calculations? So you do comparison. So compare with Y equals to mx plus c. See whether it gives you y-axis is a T square, and then x-axis is your L. Okay, if it is, then this equation is accepted. It can be used in your calculation. If it's still not fulfill this condition where y-axis is T square or an x-axis is L, then you need to rearrange it some more. Okay, you need to rearrange the equation some more. Now, the reasons why I asked you to check, why I explain this to you, is because you will be given a brand new experiment in your report writing test. And I don't know what equations will be given. So you yourself have to know whether the equations given is accepted or not. Do you need to rearrange the equations or not? Okay, so that all is depends on the question. And I don't have the questions, I don't know the questions. That's why I can only tell you what is the things that you need to do. Okay, for example, if you're given equations 3.6, can you use it in your calculation? Then you have to check whether the equations give you t square and L. Okay, obviously 3.6 is not. Therefore, what you have to do, you need to rearrange the equations by yourself until you obtain t square and L in your equations. So 3.7 can be used in our calculations because it gives you t square on the right hand side, on the left hand side, and L on the right hand side. Okay, in which it gives you t square is now equals to with your y-axis, and L is equals to your x-axis. So you yourself have to know the technique, okay, in choosing the equations, and then in rearranging the equations, see which equations can be used in our calculations. So by comparisons, it gives you gradient equals to 4 pi square over g, and this is the equations that we're going to use in our calculations of g. Okay, so the values of g can then be calculated. So apparatus, now you need a piece of a strings or threads that is equals to 105 cm. Okay, now in your experiments, you are going to need a strings, okay, which the length is 40 cm until 100 cm. Okay, now you don't need to prepare for more than one string, you just need one. Okay, you just need one, you don't have to prepare multiple strings. I will tell you how to do the experiment after this. And the reasons why it asks you to do 105 cm is because now this is the setup of the experiment. Okay, the length that you want to use is from the origins of the protractor until the pendulum bob. So this one, the maximum length that we're going to use in experiment is 100 cm. The reasons why it asks you to prepare 105 is because you need to tie your string. Okay, when you tie the string, of course, it will take up a few cm. Okay, bila kamu ikat, dia akan guna beberapa cm. So you cannot prepare exactly 100 cm. Because if you prepare exactly 100 cm, when you tie it to the protractor and when you tie it to the pendulum bob, then L will become less than 100. So this is the things that you need to check and you need to show in the video. Okay, that you have the correct length in your experiment. So you need to make sure after you tied it to the protractor and you tied it to the pendulum bob, the remaining length is 100 cm, exactly 100. Okay, that's why in the list of apparatus, it asks you to prepare 105 cm. Okay, so the second things, you need a small padlock or a keychain, okay, to be used as pendulum. Okay, now, it doesn't mean that you must use a padlock or keychains, okay? As long as you have any object, any small item that is a small but heavy, okay, small but heavy, then you can use it in your experiment, okay? You can use it as your pendulum bob in the experiment. So remember, it must be a small but heavy. Okay, why heavy? Because if it's not heavy enough, then you cannot get a nice oscillation. Okay, you cannot get a nice, perfect oscillation. And then you need a suitable place to hang the pendulum. Now, what does it mean by suitable place? First thing, you shouldn't hang it on the wall. You shouldn't let the pendulum bob close to the wall because the frictions between the pendulum and also the wall will cause the result become inaccurate. Okay, so you need a place that you can hang it freely, and when you oscillate, when you swing the pendulum bob, it won't touch the wall. Okay, so you cannot put it like the wall, like how you do the experiment in your experiment 2. Okay, how you conducted the experiment in experiment 2. So the result will become very inaccurate. Okay, why? Because there is a frictional force between pendulum and the wall. So this one is wrong. So what should you do? Okay, you need to find a rack, or maybe you have a table that is high enough, that is tall enough. So for example, now you have a rack here. Okay, then you can put your protractor. Okay, you put a protractor here. So protractor, if you recall how it looks like, okay, protractor, it comes with a horizontal line, and then this vertical line that shows you is a 90-degree line. Okay, so when you tie the string make sure you tied it at the correct position. Okay, you should tie it at this starting point. So you don't simply tie the string. Okay, you cannot tie it at the edge of the protractor. You cannot tie it here. You cannot tie it anywhere else. The protractor, the beginnings of the strings, okay, the starting point of the string should be tied to this point. Okay, this black color dot. Alright, kena ikat pada sini because this is the zero position. This is the origin of your pendulum bob, okay, of your string. So you tied it to this black color dot, okay, and then you have to show me in the video that the angles between this vertical dotted line and your pendulum bob is less than or equals to 10 degrees. Okay, this is the things, the most important elements that you need to include in your video to show that you actually understand what to do in the experiment. So make sure you put a protractor far away from a wall. Make sure when you swing this pendulum bob, it won't touch any object, anything else. Okay, it won't touch the wall. All right, you let it swing freely. Okay, so that is the definitions of a suitable place. So don't do the mistake like you did in your second experiment where you let your falling object in contact with the wall. You need to make sure this pendulum bob, it doesn't touch the wall. Okay, so you need a rack. So you can use a wardrobe, or maybe you can use any racks. Okay, the clothing's rack, and so on. And then you need a stopwatch. Okay, a stopwatch or a stopwatch functions in a smartphone. So you need to show me in a video as well how it looks like. Okay, because I want to check whether you record the correct decimal places or not. Okay, correct decimal point or not. And then a meter ruler or a measuring tapes or a 30 cm ruler, and then a protractor with a hole. Now this hole, okay, if you don't want to make a hole on a protractor, then maybe you just use a plasticine or a scotch tape also can. Okay, because what happens in a physics lab is that you will be given a protractor, okay, with a hole at this starting point. All right, and at this point we actually place a nail to let you tie the strings on the nail, okay, so that your strings can start at this zero position. But since you're doing a home-based experiment, if you don't want to spoil your protractor, then you can go for a plasticine, you can go for maybe a scotch tape. Okay, it depends on how you do it. Okay, if you don't want to make a hole on a protractor. And then a pair of scissors and a cutter. Okay, so basically this is how you this is how you set up the experiment. Okay, this is how you set up the experiment. So it's just a very simple experiment. You just need a place that is far from the wall, and then a protractor. Make sure you tie the strings to the starting point, to the zero positions of the protractor, and then a small item that can be used as your pendulum. Okay, so either a small padlock, keychain, or any other things. Okay, so that's it. This experiment is very, very easy. All right. So step number 1, set up the simple pendulum system as shown in the figure 3.1, and then take a picture of your complete setup. So in your picture, you need to show the angle. Okay, and then you need to show the length of the string, how you measured it. You measure from where to where, and then you show the distance. And then you need to show your phone, okay, or your stopwatch in the video. All right. So the guidance I told you already how to set it up. Okay, and then in your video, the video that I want you to record, I want to see these 3 things. And then next, what are you going to do? You measure the length of the strings about 40 cm. Now, the reasons why I told you, you don't need to cut multiple string. Okay, because after you cut it, the additional string, you can actually place it on top of the rack. Okay, or you can just tie it to the nail if you're using a nail here. Okay, just make sure the remaining string, okay, now let's say this L is equals to 40 cm. Okay, then you will have an additional 60 cm, right? So that 60 cm string, you can just put it on top of the rack. Just make sure it don't interfere with the oscillation, then that is fine. Okay, that's why I told you, you just need 1 string. Okay, then of course make sure you don't do a ikatan mati. Okay, you do a ikatan hidup so that you can untie it after you are done with 40 cm. Okay, because you still need to repeat the experiment for 50 cm, 60 cm, 70 cm, 80 cm, and 90 cm. All right, so altogether you will have a 6 different reading, but you just need one string. Okay, you just need one string. Okay, let's look at step number 3. Now you release the pendulum at least 10 degree from the vertical, at less than 10 degree from the vertical in one plane. And then you measure the time taken for 10 oscillation. Now, what does it mean by 10 oscillation? So let's say this is your protractor again. Okay, and then you hang the pendulums here, okay, which is a 10 degree from the vertical line. Okay, now how do you calculate the oscillation? What does it mean by one oscillation? So let's say this is a starting point. I'm going to call it A. Okay, so the center, the equilibrium positions, I'm going to call it B. And then, okay, and then the other part, opposite direction, which is also 10 degree, I'm going to call it C. So one oscillation, it means your object start to move from A to B, and then from B to C, and from C it goes back to B, and from B it goes back to A again. So this 4 paths, when you add it up, it represents one oscillation. Okay, it represents one oscillations. So you need to make sure when you after you release the object from point A, okay, it swing to point C and then it goes back to point A, that one you count it as one oscillation. Okay, you count it as one oscillation. From A to B to C, and from C goes back to B and it goes back to A, equals to one complete oscillation. So in this experiment, you need 10 oscillation. Okay, you need to count it 10. And of course, before you start counting, what is the things that you need to take notes? So start the stopwatch after several complete oscillation. Why? You shouldn't take first or second oscillations in your calculations. Why? Because the moment you release it, the object still hasn't moved with a constant angular velocity yet. Okay, it starts from rest. Okay, so the moment you release it, that first oscillation actually it cannot be counted as a it cannot be taken as an experiment, as a one oscillation in the experiment. Okay, you need to wait for maybe 2 or 3 oscillation first. Let it swing until the oscillation is smooth. Then you start the stopwatch. Okay, so usually we'll wait a 2 or 3 oscillation before we start our stopwatch. Okay, because first few oscillation is not simple harmonic motion yet. It cannot be taken as a simple harmonic motions yet. So you start the stopwatch after several complete oscillation. And for this, you need to show in your video as well. Okay, you let it swing 2-3 times first, or maybe 5 times. And then the moment you start the stopwatch, then you count 1, 2, 3 until 10. Okay, that is the things that you need to show in the video. From before you start the stopwatch until you stop the stopwatch. The whole process need to be included in your video. Okay, because that is the most important part in the whole experiment. Okay, whether you take the correct calculations, correct oscillations, whether you start the stopwatch at the right timing, you stop it at the right timing or not. All those elements need to be included in your video. So you repeat step number 3, okay, and then calculate the average value. So you need to repeat it 3 times. Okay, you need to repeat it 3 times. And then calculate the periods of oscillation. Now, again, a new terms here. What does it mean by period? So if you recall, what have we learned in a lecture last week? We have 2 different T. Small letter T, it represents the time taken for any amounts of oscillation. Okay, any amounts of oscillation. So it could be the time taken for 1 oscillations, 2 oscillations, 3 oscillations, 4 oscillations, up to 10 oscillation. Okay, but when it comes to capital letter T, what does it mean? It means this is the time taken for 1 oscillations only. Okay, for 1 oscillations only. So how are we going to calculate it then? Now you recall this experiment, it asks you to calculate time taken for 10 oscillation. So the time taken for 10 oscillations is your small letter t. So from small letter t, how are you going to change it to capital letter T? This one, I leave it to you. I want you to think a bit. This is just a simple mathematics. Okay, small letter t is time taken for 10 oscillation. Then how do you calculate time taken for one oscillation? Think about it. And then step number 5, repeat the experiment for length 50 cm, 60 cm, 70 cm, 80 cm, and 90 cm. Okay, so altogether you will have a 6 set of reading. And then you plot a graph of t squared against L. Okay, and then from the gradients of the graph, you then determine the values of G. So these values of G is the first readings that you obtain in this experiment. Okay, first G, which is the G for 10 degree. In this experiment, you are going to calculate 2 different G. Okay, so up until step number 7, you are done with part 1 of the experiment. Okay, you are done with part 1 of the experiment, where it gives you the first readings of accelerations due to gravity. So now let's look at step number 8. Step number 8, now you are going to use a length 100 cm. Okay, and then what are you going to do? You release it from 70 degree now. So this is for large amplitude. Okay, for large amplitude, where you release the object at an angle that is equal to 70 degree. So repeat the time for 5 complete oscillation. Now you just need 5 oscillation. Okay, and then repeat the operations and calculate the average value. So you repeat it 3 times. And then you calculate the period of the oscillation for the simple pendulum. So for 70 degree, you don't have to repeat it for different length. Okay, you just need 100 cm, and then you repeat it for 3 times. And then you take the average value. And then after that, you calculate G by using equations. So instead of using gradient, as shown in step number 7, now for 70 degree, you don't need to plot the graph. What you need, you just need equations 3.1. Then you sub the values of length and also the time, the period in the equations to calculate G. So this would be the second G that you obtain from this experiment, okay, where this is the G for 70 degree. So after you obtain this G, what are you going to do? Now you have 2 different G, right? Then you compare with standard value. So your standard value is G equals to 9.81 ms negative 2. All right. So which means for this experiment, you need G at a 10 degree, and then the G at a 70 degree. And then this, for these 2 value, you need to calculate percentage of difference. Okay, you need to calculate percentage of difference for both of them. So after you calculate percentage of difference, you compare their percentage of difference. See which one give you less percentage. All right, by right, 10 degree should have smaller percentage. Okay, because 10 degree is the assumptions that we made in our derivations of equation. 70 degree actually is invalid in our equation. So if you calculate it by using equations in 3.1, by theory, okay, it should give you a less accurate result. So this one, you compare between 10 degree and 70 degree, then you answer your second objective. Okay, because second objective, it wants you to investigate the effect of large amplitude. So you compare between what happens for a 70 degree and 10 degree. Okay, and see which one gives you a smaller percentage of difference, then that one is more accurate. All right. So objective number 1, you just use the reading for 10 degree. Okay, so for 10 degree,
Madam,
yes.
kan yang percentage of difference, nanti kita buat yang G70 tolak G10 per dengan 98% ke?
Apakah equations untuk percentage of difference? Ini kan kamu dah buat sejak eksperimen 1 lagi. Apakah equations? Equations dia kamu guna apa tolak apa dalam equation?
Yang G tolak dengan ni ke?
Tolak apa?
G tolak dengan G10 ke?
10?
Yang ada modulus tu.
Ya, modulus punya equations dia apa?
G eksperimen, G teori tolak G eksperimen.
Okay, G theory atau G experiment, tolak yang satu lagi. So, yang mana satu itu, bagi tahu kamu kena guna 10 degree, tolak 70 degree.
Okay. Dia yang maksudnya yang ada dua lah, dia percentage of difference.
Ya, sebab kamu kan ada dua nilai yang kamu tentu dari eksperimen. The G for 10 degree and the G for 70 degree. So, you need 2 percentage of difference.
Okay.
Alright?
Okay, thank you.
So, for the first objective, it can be answered by using just a 10 degree. So your comment and compare, you just use the information for 10 degree. And then in order to answer the second objective, you compare between 10 degree and 70 degree. All right. So you will have two types of discussion in your two types of comment and compare in your discussion. One is for the first objective, and the second one is for the second objective. Okay, but you can also write both of them in the first paragraph. All right, it doesn't matter. So done. Okay, we are done with the experiment 5. So I've shown you what you need to do. So remember the format of the experiment in your report writing test. You start from title and then objective and straight away go to observation. All right, observation. So you don't need to show the list of apparatus again. You don't need to write the theory. You don't need to write the procedure. Okay, you straight away jump to observation. And what should you include in your observation? Table. So you need 2 table. Okay, one for 10 degree, one for 70 degree. And then you need a graph. Okay, graph is just for 10 degree. And then you need calculations. Okay, calculations. So calculation, of course, is for 10 degree and also for 70 degree. So for 10 degree, you calculate it by using the gradient. Okay, and then 70 degree is by using equations. All right. So we're done. Okay, that is the observations and then followed by discussion. Okay, so discussions, if you recall the things that I told you last week, now you need 4 paragraphs. Okay, you need 4 paragraphs rather than just 3 now. Okay, because your new format asks you to write an additional things in your discussion. So remember, first paragraph, comment and compare. Okay, comment and compare. So if you're still giving me in a point form, then I won't mark your discussion. All right, so you're going to get 0 mark in your report writing test because you are not following the format. So for paragraph, first paragraph, I want comment and compare. Second paragraph, you give one precaution. Okay, so this one precaution is some things that you have done before you do the experiment, before you start the experiment. For example, you switch off the fan. Some things that you can do before you start the experiment. Okay, and then followed by 2 errors. So these 2 errors is some things that you cannot fix it when you do the experiment. It cannot be avoided. All right, so remember, there is a slight difference between the precautions and also the suggestions for the error. So you need to give 2 suggestions. Okay, suggestions, and these suggestions must be based on error. Okay, must be related. So suggestions must be based on error, and error is something that cannot be avoided when you conduct this home-based experiment. If it's something that can be avoided, for example, switching off the fan, then that one is under precaution. Okay, yang kamu boleh buat on the spot. You don't even have to wait for next experiment for you to get a new ingredient, new apparatus. Straight away, you can fix it. Okay, then that one is under precaution. All right. So you give 2 errors. You try to think when you conduct the experiment, what else? Okay, what is things that you observe that it affects your results, that give you a less accurate readings? Okay, that won't give you that is factors that you are not getting 9.81 in your calculation. So you try to observe all those things when you conduct the experiment, when you do the home-based experiment. Okay, what is the factors that affect your reading when you conduct the experiment? All right, so from there you give 2 suggestions. So suggestions is what can be done if you are going to repeat this experiment again to make your reading more accurate, to improve the accuracy of the reading, okay, to make it more precise. So don't get confused between suggestions and precaution. All right, so precaution is something that you can do on the spot. For example, switching off the fan, close the window. And then suggestions is some things that you cannot do on the spot. Okay, that you can only do if you repeat this experiment again. Okay, after you get a new ingredient and so on. All right, so make sure you are clear. Okay, you know what is the difference between these two things. And again, remember, I don't want a parallax error, I don't want zero error. If you give me these two errors, straight away I'll give you a big cross without reading it. All right, so a discussion, 4 paragraph, and then at last conclusion. Okay, the last thing is the conclusions. So conclusions, it refers to objective. Now you have 2 objectives, therefore you have to answer both of them in your conclusions. So that's it. Okay, that is how you should do a report writing test for the experiment 5. And now let's see what is the things that I want you to include in your video. All right, what is the thing? So far, any question first regarding the report writing? Do you have any questions regarding the report writing? I hope no, right? Because it's a very simple experiment. The only new things in the report writing is the discussion. So previously, I accept 2 precautions or suggestions. It's up to you which one you want to give me. But now in your report writing test, they split it clearly. Okay, precaution is precaution, suggestions is suggestions. So don't mix up. All right, don't mix up. Okay, now next I want you to see. Okay, I want you to see this thing. So this is what this is the elements. This is the things that I want you to include in your home-based experiment. Okay, in your experiment 5. So first of all, okay, first things that you must show in the video, okay, is all apparatus, how you set it up. Okay, how you set it up. So after you set up experiment, you take a picture also can. Okay, so some of it you can use picture, some of you need to show in terms of video. And I will teach you how to combine all of them in one video clip after this. Okay, so first one, set up apparatus of the experiment. Okay, after you set it up, you have the protractor at a suitable place, and then you tie the pendulum bob, the strings, everything nicely already. Then you take a picture, a photo. Okay, so if I can see all apparatus in the pictures, in the photo, then you get full marks. Okay, of course it must be organized. You must you have to set it up nicely and in a correct way. Okay, so as long as I can see everything in the picture, full mark for the first category. And then the second things, okay, measures and record the length of the string. So that is the things that I told you just now. I want to see how you show the 40 cm, how you measure the 40 cm. Okay, so it would be better if you can get a very, very long ruler rather than 30 cm ruler. Okay, or if you get 30 cm ruler, then you have to show me in terms of 2 pictures, maybe, or in terms of video, how you measure that 40 cm. Okay, how you measure that 40 cm. So of course, you just need to give me one picture, okay, the picture for 40 cm. You don't have to give me every single picture. Okay, just show me one picture to prove that you have the right skill. That is the things that we want to see. Okay, you have the right skill in the video in doing this experiment. And then show me how you record the readings. Then that means you need a table. Okay, you need a complete table, a nice table. So after you record it, you show me the table. Okay, because I want to see whether you have the correct decimal places or not, based on the tools that you are using, based on the measuring apparatus that you are using. Okay, so you need to show the table for times and also for the length. And then you need to show me, okay, before you release the pendulum bob, you need to show me that the angle is less than 10 degrees. And again, this one you can show by using picture. Okay, by using picture. So you try to control the time, okay? Because if you show everything in terms of video, it's very time consuming. Some of it, if you can show by using picture, then go for picture. All right? Because if a video, I think it'll be time consuming. But of course, it's up to you. If you want to show every part in terms of video, okay, of course, it's fine. Okay, tada masalah. Okay, it's up to you. I just give you a suggestions. Okay, I just give you suggestions to make it easier for you, because video sometimes you have to record it multiple times, okay, to get a video that you are satisfied. But a picture is very simple. Okay, you just switch on your phone, one tap, done. You got a picture already. Okay, and then okay, now number 4 is what you must show in terms of a video. Okay, it must be video. So you video the 5 complete oscillations, and you need to show me you wait for you wait for at least 2 to 3 oscillation first before you start your stopwatch. Now, of course, this is a typo, not 5 complete oscillations. Okay, your experiment asks you to do 10 oscillation, so you need to show 10 oscillation. Okay, and you need to count it. Okay, in your video, I want you to count it. Count 1, 2, 3, 4 until 10. Now, if you are too shy to show your voice in your video, you can add text in your video. Okay, you can add the numbering in your video. That is fine. Okay, kamu boleh tunjuk numbers dalam video anda. So it's up to you how you want to do it. But I want you to show me how you do the calculations. Okay, so the easiest way, of course, is counting. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until 10. So you just count it. And of course, you need to wait 2 to 3 oscillations first before you start counting. Okay, so I want to see step number 4 in terms of video. And then step number 5, show clearly how the measurements has been taken. So basically this one, you just show me one picture is enough. Okay, after you stop the stopwatch. All right, because you already show me when you start and when you stop the stopwatch. And then step number 5, just shows the pictures of your stopwatch, shows the time. Okay, show me the times taken. And of course, all this you just need to show me for one reading. Okay, don't have to show me for repeated reading. So the reasons why I want to see the picture, because I want to see whether you have the correct decimal places or not of the recorded time. All right, so you need to show me one picture of your stopwatch with the time, okay, after you stop the readings. So safety, now what does it mean by safety? So safety, okay, basically safety is a bonus mark criteria as long as you don't conduct your experiment in a dangerous place. For example, don't do the experiment while your mom is cooking. Okay, don't do it beside your mom's. Contohnya mak kamu tengah masak di sebelah and then kamu buat di sebelah mak anda. Then that one I will consider it as not safe. Why? Because usually the wardrobes, the hanging wardrobes, the wardrobe we have is in the kitchen. Okay, even the video, okay, the demo video in your feedboard, they conduct the experiment in a kitchen. So kitchen, well, by right, it's not a safe place, okay, but that is a place where you can find a wardrobe. So usually, okay, students will do it there. Don't do it while your mom is cooking. If your mom is cooking and you're doing the experiment, then it's considered as not safe. Mark will be deducted. Okay, so just show me that you got a safe environment when you're doing the experiment, then that is done. Now the clean liners, okay, the last one, you need to show us a picture after you complete the experiment. Okay, after you tidy up, you put all apparatus on the one side, and then the stations, the place that you do the experiment is clean, without plasticines, without markers. Okay, if you draw the marks on the wall and everything, so you need to clean it up. Okay, so you just shows me a picture that is enough to show that you are done cleaning up. Okay, so 7 criteria, altogether 21 marks. Every criteria I will give you 3 marks maximum. Okay, so I want to see all these 7 criteria in your video. Okay, dalam video anda kamu kena tunjuk 7 benda ini. Alright, now how to do a video? Okay, that is the next things that I want to show you. So far, any questions regarding the criteria just now? Oh, semua okay kah?
Madam,
Yes.
timer tu macam yang timer phone biasa tak apa kan?
Tak apa. Yang penting kamu tunjuk saya satu gambar selepas kamu stop reading untuk yang 40 cm punya buat kali pertama.
Okay,
sebab saya nak tengok kamu punya stopwatch punya decimal places.
boleh.
Madam,
Yes?
untuk pendulum tu
Ya.
kan boleh guna objek lain juga, small but
Boleh.
heavy. Heavy tu nak berat banyak mana untuk consider it heavy?
Yang boleh bagi kamu punya tali dia macam tegang. Okay, sebab kadang-kadang kalau kamu gantung benda yang ringan, dia punya tali macam boleh macam mana nak katanya, dia macam boleh gerak kan, dia punya tali macam tak tegang. So bila kamu letak objek itu, dia akan straight. Kamu boleh nampak dia betul-betul tarik kamu punya tali.
Oh, asalkan tali tu straight tegang.
Asalkan tali itu dia macam dah cukup strong. Okay, so kamu boleh cuba tengok kalau kamu gantung, let's say kamu gantung satu pin kecil dekat kamu punya tali. Tali kamu nampak dia macam boleh swing sendiri sebelum kamu gerakkan dia. Itu dah tak sesuai lah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
Alright. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do a simple video editing. Okay, so this one, if you got got a Windows 10, that actually is a free and a built-in software in a Windows 10. And the reasons why I recommend this one is because it won't leave watermark on your video. And of course, if you have any other software and you are getting used to all the other software, you're more than welcome to use it. Just make sure the watermarks, it doesn't cover up the important information. For example, watermarks, it don't cover up the 10 degree in your protractor. Okay, for example, it doesn't cover up the readings on the ruler because I want to see the readings on the ruler. So it don't cover up all the important informations in the video, then go ahead and use the software you're used to. Okay, now I think some of you told me you don't have laptop. Okay, last week after I asked in the group, got students told me you don't have laptop. Now it doesn't matter. You try to get the software in the app store. Okay, some phone, it allows you to do video editing as well. Just that for that one, you have to discover it on your own. You have to exploit it on your own. All right, but make sure any software that you're using, if there's watermark, it don't covers up any important informations in your video. Okay, because everything in your video is very important, and the marks will be given based on the important information, based on the information shown in your video. All right, so now let's go to, okay, let's start from here. Okay, you search. Okay, usually it won't comes up in your menu, your startup menu. You need to search it. So what is the things that you need to search? You search for video editor. So after you type video editor, it should comes out in the apps. Okay, so you just click it. So after you click the video editor, it will brings you to a new window. Okay, so yeah, it will comes up in a new window. This is your video editor software. Okay, so in this software, okay, now you see I got a lot of project already, so just ignore it. Let me yeah. So now what am I going to do? You go to start a new video project. Okay, got a new video project, you click it, then it will bring you to a new panel. This is where you're going to edit your video. The first things that it will ask you to do, okay, this one, before you do anything wrong, you just click start a new project, then it pops up this window, okay, and then it asks you to name your video first before you do anything. So how I want you to name your video, very simple. You give me your full name. Okay, so for example, me is my name is you, and then underscore, and then you give your metric number. Okay, MS12345 and so on. Okay, done. You got your full name, underscore, your metric number, then okay. Okay, so now we are ready. After you name the video, we are ready to edit our video. So the first things that you want to do, of course, you need to have everything in your PC, put them in the same folder to make it easier for you to import it into your library. So you go to project library, there's an add button. Okay, you select add button. Okay, now of course from PC for me. Okay, you can select from web, you can select from a picture collections. Okay, but for me, I like to select it from PC. Okay, because I put everything in folder. So now I have all my picture and a video in the same folder. So what am I going to do? I'm going to select the pictures that I want to put in my video first. Okay, so for example, I want to select this picture. Okay, 1 picture, 2 picture, 3 picture, 4 picture, for example. I got 4 pictures that I want to put in my video. And then maybe I got 2 video clip that I want to add in my video. Okay, so now I'm ready. I got 6 things that I want to add in my video. Okay, so I select them. So you select one and then you press Control key, you select another 5 that you want. Okay, after you select the first one that you want, the remaining one, you need to press Control key when you select them. So done, I'm ready, so open. So now all this video clip and video will be added to your project library. Okay, so now that you have all them in your project library, what are you going to do? You look at storyboard. Okay, you go to storyboard. Okay, so storyboard is how you want to plan the video. Okay, how you want to edit your video. So now let's say I'm going to start from intro picture. So I drag it from my library, I put it here. So now this one will becomes my starting scenes in my video. Okay, the first scenes in my video. And every picture that you add in the storyboard, the default setting is 3 seconds. If you want to change the duration, you click on the picture, you go to duration. Then you can change the time. Okay, you can change to 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds. It's up to you how many seconds you want. Okay, you can edit it. So maybe this is the intro slide. Okay, I introduce myself a little bit, and then so I tell the examiner now I'm doing the experiments called simple harmonic motion. So you put it in one slide, one picture. And then the second picture, okay, now this picture you show me the setup of the experiment. So one picture, default setting is 3 seconds. Now I've added 2 pictures. As you can see here, it's 6 seconds. The whole video is now 6 seconds. Okay, so the video on the right hand side is your product, your end product. So you can keep checking it on this video, see whether it's you are satisfied with your video or not. Okay, you can drag, see what is the times that you want to check whether the video is okay or not. Right. So after I add a picture of my setup, okay, maybe now I want to add a picture showing how I measure the length. So now I drag the video, I put it here. Okay, so you see now my video is ready here. So I have one picture, 2 picture, and 1 video now. So when I play them, they will becomes 1 video starting from these 2 pictures. Okay, so you see when I played it, 3 second first picture, another 3 second second picture, and then followed by video. Okay, so this is how your videos looks like when you add it into storyboard. Okay, after you add it into storyboard. Now let's say if I put them in the wrong sequence, what can I do? I can drag around. Okay, I can drag around. So I can change the sequence in my storyboard. And now, for example, after I record the video, usually our video is not perfect. Okay, because we will waste a few seconds to press the start button. After we are done, maybe we spend another 2-3 seconds to press the stop button. So that few seconds, we don't want it. So what should we do? You click on the video, okay, or you just click on the video to make it easier. Then you go to trim. Okay, you go to trim. So in a trim, this is where you can edit your video. You can trim, you can cut the place that you don't want by dragging this circle around. Okay, by dragging this circle around. So you can just click on the play button. Okay, then it will start to run. The video will start to run. And then maybe you want the video to start at this point, okay, at this position. This is where the beginning of your video clip. So the first few seconds is the part that you don't want. So you just stop your video, pause it, or you can drag the circle until it reach this position. Okay, so you're satisfied. You make sure, okay, you're sure that now you want to start from these scenes. Then you drag this marker, the start of trim marker until it reach this circle. Okay, tarik dia sampai bulatan ini, sampai pin ini. Okay. So this would be the beginning of your video clip. Okay, of this short clip. So you keep playing the video, or you can keep dragging it around until it reach the final scenes. So for example, this is the final scenes in my video. Okay, so final scenes in my video. Okay, now what am I going to do? So last few seconds is the times that I spend to click the off button. Okay, so now I am going to move the end marker, end of trim marker. Okay, so this is the end of my video. So this green color bar would be what I want to add in my video clip now. Okay, so the gray out part, the gray out zone is the part that I want to throw away. I want to remove. So now I'm satisfied. So done. Okay, so now you see just now got 3 minutes plus. Now it left with 2 minutes. Okay, 2 minutes 48 seconds in my video clip, because I've already thrown away few seconds that I don't want. Now, what if you want more than one part of the video? Sometimes we just want the beginning and once the ending of the video. Okay, so you don't have to record twice. What you need to do, you go to project library, you drag the same video for another time, and then you place it here. So now you have 2 identical video in your storyboard. So let's go to the first one, we trim it. So let's say now the first video, you want the first part only. Okay, then you adjust, okay, until this part. Let's say you just want this part. Done. This is the first video. And then the same video, you trim it again, but now you don't want the starting, you want the ending. Okay, so let's say you want just the ending. Okay, so this is the endings that I want. So the remaining part, I don't want anymore. So done. So two video clip in your storyboard, actually they come from the same video, same short clip that you record just now. Just that now you're cutting for different part. Okay, you trim it for different part. So one video, you can use it multiple times in your storyboard. Tak semestinya kamu kena record 2-3 kali baru boleh guna dalam storyboard. No. Okay, you can use same video clip multiple times in the storyboard. So after I'm done with a second video clip, now maybe I want to add in another picture, the picture of the stopwatch. Okay, and then maybe I want to show that my station is clean now, I add another video. So you just keep dragging. Okay, and then, okay, finish, done, end. Okay, so this is my video clip. So now I can check. Okay, I drag the times, go back to 0. I start to play until it finished. You see whether you're happy with the video or not. All right. So sometimes if you think your video it goes a bit slower, you can change the speed of the video clip. But when you change the speed of the video clip, your voice will become cartoon voice. That is the downside of this free video editor software. Okay, free video editing software. So when you change the speed, everything will become cartoon-like. All right. And then now, what if you want to add text in the video clip? So you just click on the short click, okay, or you tick it, then you go to add text. Okay, you add text here, so you can drag it until the part that you want, and then you key in the text. Okay, so for example, I want to add the text on top of the screen. So I go to the layout, I click top, and then I text. Okay, I put text. So testing. Now you see it comes up in my video already. Okay, at the top part of the video, at the upper part of my video. So this is how you add text. Okay, so I'll leave it to you. You explore it by yourself. But this is how you do the video editing. So if you look at the timer bar, so the testing works, it will come out for this long, okay, this amount of period. So you can change the times that you want to keep it on the screen. Okay, you can change the times that you want to keep it on the screen. So if you're done, then you just click done. Okay, then text will be added in your video clip. So it will comes up on the 18-second at the upper part of my video. So you can see a testing on my screen now. So you just keep watching until the end. Okay, now if you're happy with the video, you think that is the video that you want to submit to me, and make sure the time is less than 3 minutes. Okay, so make sure that you double check. Now, you don't have to add all this effect, yeah, all the 3D effect, motions, whatever. No, don't need. Additional effect won't give you extra marks. Okay, it won't give you any marks. It will be just a waste of time. Well, maybe your video looks nice. Maybe you want to post it on TikTok or so on. You want to add effect, go ahead. But it won't give you bonus mark. Okay, so don't worry about all this effect. Kalau kamu tak hebat dengan video editing ke, kamu tak tahu macam mana nak tambah effect, nak tambah music ke, don't worry. Because we don't need all those things in the video. Alright? What we want to see is your skill. Whether you know how to conduct the experiment or not. So you don't have to give me all the fancy effect. Alright? So all this effect, if you want to use it, you explore by yourself. If no, then just leave it because it's not important. We don't need it. Okay, we don't need it in a video. So now you're happy with the video, you go to finish video on the top right corner. Okay, finish video. Now don't choose high quality. You go for the low quality. High quality is a waste of data and it's a waste of time. Okay, I can tell you last time I've added a HD video. 1 hour video, it took 6 hours to process. I have to leave my laptop run for 6 hours, and it takes another 6 hours for me to upload it to the cloud because it's HD. The file is very large, so it took 6 hours to process and 6 hours to upload. So it's a complete waste of time. So go for the lowest quality. Okay, go for the low quality. So after you choose a low quality, export. Okay, then you just save it in your PC. After you save it, you upload it to the Google Classroom. Then done. Okay, that is the end of your report. So that's it. Okay, that's all. So any questions?
Madam.
Yes?
If lah kalau saya buat semua, lepas tu saya guna phone. And then saya hantar video tu, saya guna link YouTube, boleh ke?
Kamu hantar link YouTube boleh? Tak ada masalah?
Okay. Sebab dah pernah buat untuk bio, dia senang sikit.
Boleh je, tak ada masalah. Yang penting saya boleh nampak video itu, saya boleh play video itu, saya boleh check sama ada kamu ada skill atau tak ada. Itu saja.
Okay.
Okay, so I think it's time for you to leave the class now. It's 10 a.m. So you may leave the class now. If you have any more questions, you may ask in the group. All right. So
Thank you, madam.